After all this, how's it feel to finally get your 500th win?
I'm glad it's over.
Glad it's over.
So we can move on. All right? No, it's great. We had a good night last night, and kids, I think, had a good experience. It was an excellent win, and I'm very proud of the accomplishment, but I give a lot of credit to our players and our coaching staff over the years who have all been a big part of it.
What was your idea or your mentality when you first took over for AC Hockey 36 seasons ago? Were you envisioning this? Were you intending it to go this far?
I don't think I was ever envisioning coaching for 36 years, but I think what I did envision was to help continue an already excellent hockey program when I took it over. The head coach was Steve Theall. Upon his retirement, I replaced him. He had won the state championship the year before in 1978. And my goal was to continue that success, obviously, and even try to replicate what then I thought was probably the top hockey program around, which was Arlington High School, where I went to high school, and their coach Ed Burns, who is a legend in the coaching profession. So, and I think we've accomplished that and much more.
Of course. What can you say after 36 years? And I mean, I do recognize it's a long time, but what do you think has been like the major change since you've taken over? I mean, anything in the world of hockey or like overall rules?
I think the game has changed a little bit. It's a much faster game, much more speed, much more skill oriented, and I think the players have changed a little bit. There's a difference in dealing with young people today than there was 30 years ago. I think there's more highly skilled teams than there were then. There's more teams. The competition level is much stronger, I think, than it was back then. So, but I think for the most part, the game is the same. There's been a few rule changes, but nothing that has changed the game that drastically. But I think, for the most part, I think the game has become much faster and much more skilled oriented.
What can you say about for this particular, especially considering that you guys went off to a 7-0 streak or to begin the season? How much credit do you think goes to the newfound captains Brian Goggin and John Luke D?
Well, I think Brian and John Luke have done a terrific job as leaders this year. You're right, we got off to a quick start and did well early on. That helps a lot. But I think they have done a very good job in the locker room, leading our team, keeping the team focused on each particular game and each period. And I think they can take a lot of credit for our success. Leadership is very important today.
Last night, specifically in your 500th win against Archies, we saw some great performances from upcoming freshmen Cam Geary and Jack Studley. Any words on them?
Well, I think Cam and Jack and also Craig Needham, another freshman forward. I think they're the future for our program. Last night was probably the first game they actually made what we would consider a contribution to the game. They did a great job. They filled in spots here and there. Jack Studley and Craig Needham in particular, and then Cam did a terrific job filling in on defense, giving John Luke and Goggin and Danny Needham and Jack Rogers a breather. You know, and they're going to be key players down the stretch run.
What can you say as a coach? I mean, what advice can you give to any other coaches that are just starting out? I mean, not necessarily in this league, but just in the sport of hockey. What advice could you give them?
Well, I think one important thing is that you need to be a leader as a coach off the ice as well as on the ice. I think you have to try to teach your team, your players, have the right way to represent your school and their team and their program and their families. I think that's very, very important. And you got to look at the big picture and not be so worried about wins and losses. You want to build a program that's respected, and that when your players graduate and go on to bigger and better things in life, start families, you want them to come back and tell you that you help them become better people. And that's, if you can do that, then I think you're a success story.
How was your approach necessarily when it came to being an athletic director and a hockey coach? How did that change your game, for lack of better words?
Well, I was always the athletic director, all right?
Right.
So I really know no difference because I've always done it this way. But I think it does take on a separate challenge, and I think you have to really make sure you're fair to other programs in your school. And there are times when I think I even slight the hockey program because I want to make sure that I've done my due diligence representing the school as athletic director. So, but I think there's an even keel there, and you have to find that even keel so that you can do both jobs and do them both well. And some nights it's not easy, but you have to try to fight through those difficulties and make sure you get both done. I'm lucky I have a good staff, and I have a lot of veteran coaches that are involved both in other sports as well as my assistants. And if I have to be in one place and not the other, then I feel confident that the jobs will get done.
In the situation of earlier on this a couple of weeks ago versus Austin Prep, I know obviously that was your 60th birthday.
Well, my birthday was actually Sunday. Okay, but that's okay. But that was close enough. That's close enough. Most people thought it was Saturday, and that's okay. No, I think, we were disappointed as a team that we didn't win the hockey game because we felt we should have won that game. I don't think my birthday or being the 500th win really had much to do with that. I think the players were disappointed because they knew that we had let one slip away. I think we learned from that, and if we learn from that, then it makes it worthwhile. There's many more games to be played, so something that we knew would come eventually, all right, at some point, one way or the other, sooner rather than later, and it did the next game. But I think that, I don't think the players got too involved in all that. I think that they knew what they had to do on the ice, and they went out and did it. That particular night, our performance wasn't good enough, and, last night it was.
How do you see yourself progressing in the foreseeable future?
Well, I think as far as coaching goes, I'm going to be the athletic director here for a few more years anyway. But I think as far as coaching goes, as long as I feel I can stay in touch with the kids, all right, and that I feel comfortable that I can still relate to the players, then I will continue to coach.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Shine for Arlington Catholic Hockey.